Last weekend was again an exciting race at Circuit de Monaco, laid out on the city streets of Monte Carlo, around the harbour of the Principality of Monaco. The circuit is 3,337 kilometers long and officially consists of 78 laps, except for the race of last Sunday. But how did that happen? Watch the video to find out. But first, if you are new here, please press the bell button to stay up to date, so you won't miss out on Max Verstappen Formula One. Monaco has been on the Grand Prix calendar since the beginning of the Formula One World Championship. It has always been one of the most well-known Formula One Grand Prix circuits. The street circuit is the ultimate challenge for every Formula One driver. It's impossible to achieve maximum speed due to the many turns, except in the tunnel. The race circuit contains multiple uphill climbs, tight turns, and a narrow route, making it one of the most difficult courses in Formula One. There is a history of lots of crashes into the walls. Also, 2 drivers have crashed and ended up in the harbour in the past. The most famous was Alberto Ascari in 1955. Monaco is also one of the 3 circuits which have only one DRS zone, the others being Suzuka and Imola. So it's probably not going to surprise you that it is usually a one-stop strategy, because overtaking is extremely tough with these circumstances. That means teams want to prioritize track position and make as few stops as possible, with timing being the most important part. That's why the qualifying is so important with this race. Unfortunately, Max Verstappen did not appear to be in top form during qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. Sergio Perez and the both Ferraris were all in front of him, which places Verstappen in 4th position on the grid. Charles Leclerc had pole position, which was not beneficial for Verstappen at all. As Verstappen fans, we got a little nervous seeing these qualifying results. Normally it's tough to gain positions in these circumstances. And as we know, Verstappen has a history of crashes at the Circuit of Monaco. In 2015, he crashes into Romain Grosjean, which caused him to drop out. A year later, he crashed into the wall. And he did not seem to learn from that mistake, because in 2018 he hit the wall again, almost identical to his crash in 2016. After a couple bad years, Verstappen was the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix in 2021. The Dutchman started in 2nd place, but after Charles Leclerc retired before the race, Verstappen moved to pole position and finished 1st. Because of his starting position and the limited options for overtaking, a victory looked unlikely this year. However, against all expectation, this race had a surprising twist because of the weather circumstances. So that changes all the predictions and tactics. Before the race, Verstappen said, "Only rain can help me, since overtaking is almost impossible at a dry track." Verstappen is known for driving very well on a rainy track. And his prayers must have been heard, or he did a rain dance before the race, because although it seemed like they were going to race on a dry track, there was lots of unexpected rain. But as a result, the start was delayed for a few minutes by the confusion of Verstappen, who couldn't wait to start. "What are we waiting for?" said Max on the board radio while he was waiting at P4. After 17 minutes of delay, they finally started a few formation laps on the required full wets, only to drive straight to the pit again. Leclerc, who was driving on pole, said, "It is raining like crazy. It was not safe to drive." The FIA made the call to delay the start, as the cars were not prepared with the tires needed to start under wet conditions, and the rainfall was too heavy. After 1 hour and 9 minutes, the long wait gets rewarded with an exciting race. But still required on the complete wets, and behind the safety car. During the formation laps, Lance Stroll crashed in the wall and suffered a puncture, while Nicolas Latifi drove straight ahead and lost his front wing. The safety car returned after 2 laps and the field was cleared. The race was led by the Ferraris, followed by the 2 Red Bulls. A lot of drivers in the back took a chance and switched to intermediates early on. This appeared to save time compared to the complete wets after roughly 10 laps, but because to the lack of overtaking opportunities, these men quickly rejoined the train. As a result, the front of the field elected to keep the blue tires on for as long as possible. The top 5 consisted of Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Verstappen, and Lando Norris after 15 laps. At this moment, the Monegasque was 5.3 seconds behind his Spanish teammate. On lap 16, Hamilton and Perez dove in for another round of inters. The Mexican has also been hesitant to transition to dry weather tires. After 19 laps, Ferrari sent in Leclerc, but the Monegasque re-entered the track behind Perez, losing position and relative to the Red Bull Racing driver. Verstappen went into the pits right away, but Sainz took a chance and waited outside. For the Spaniard, that decision did not turn out well. After 22 laps, Sainz came in with the hard tire under his Ferrari. Leclerc was also told to come in, only to be told to stay in after all. That call, however, came too late, and the crew was caught off guard and therefore, a few seconds were lost. By the frustration of Leclerc, who drove into the pit lane cursing like crazy. 1 lap later, Perez and Verstappen jumped in and went to the hard compound as well. After 26 laps, Kevin Magnussen had to watch his Haas come to a halt. And just a few minutes later, things went wrong for Haas again, this time in the form of Mick Schumacher. The young German lost control of his car and skidded backwards into the wall. Despite the fact that the back of his Haas had broken off, Schumacher soon informed us that he was fine. He climbed out of the cockpit on his own, and the safety car followed him onto the track. However, the red flag was raised a few minutes later. Eventually, the race resumed with a rolling start. Perez and Verstappen switched to a new set of mediums, but Sainz and Leclerc stuck with their 10-lap-old hards. This time, the entire field got off to a strong start. Due to the delay, it was clear that not all 77 laps would be completed. After all, a Grand Prix can last no more than 2 hours from start to finish. To earn full points, you must cover 75% of the race distance, which in this case meant completing 58 laps. On lap 40, with 31 minutes remaining, the DRS was activated for the first time. Surprisingly, this did not result in an increase in the number of overtaking maneuvers. In comparison to Sainz, Perez was able to pull a 2-second gap on his mediums. Because some teams were concerned about rain in the final minutes, tire management was crucial in the race's final act. Alexander Albon was the third to retire. After 52 laps, he was rolled back into the Williams garage. Perez's front tires suffered in the closing moments of the race. In terms of lap times, the Mexican had to lose, and Sainz and Verstappen both gasped in his gate. In the final 5 minutes, Leclerc also jumped in, and the leading 4 riders rode closely together. But the Mexican was able to cling on to his first win of the season and his first victory in Monaco. Second was Sainz, who was followed by the defending world champion Max Verstappen. Norris received an additional point for the fastest lap. Hannah SCHMITZ, Red Bull's head strategist, was the miracle worker of this race. While Ferrari completely missed the mark, she made sure Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen could win 2 positions and 1 place, respectively, at the cost of the Ferrari drivers. At one point it looked like both Verstappen and Perez could get a penalty. When leaving the pit, they both would have crossed the yellow line. That is not allowed, according to the race director's notes. During the race it was tolerated by race officials, but Ferrari disagreed and protested against both drivers. The stewards, however, concluded that the duo should not be punished, and therefore the Monaco GP result stands. It's been stated for a while that the battle between Red Bull and Ferrari was far less intense than the one between Red Bull and Mercedes last year. But does this protest add a new twist to this title fight, which could turn a little more heated as a result? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. After an emotional ceremony on the podium, Sergio Perez celebrates his Monaco victory with a dip in the pool. A tradition that applies when you drive for Red Bull. The Mexican put on a show for his teammates, including a flip, and, of course, the Mexican flag. Due to the absence of a pool in 2021, Max Verstappen was unable to do so, but Sergio Perez is bringing back the tradition. Leclerc, on the other hand, wasn't too happy with the outcome of the race. It was a disaster. Mistakes can be made, but there were too many and we can't afford to do that. So what can you say about the race? Did you expect Perez to win? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos.